Today, I'm going to talk about the power of spiritual discernment, the ability to know what is real and what's noise. So let's start off by looking at two questions. First is, how do I know what's real and what's noise? And I think by the end of this talk, you're going to have a really good idea. And what you're going to find out is that just about everything that you're seeing, hearing, it's all noise. And then, once you understand that, how do I trust what's guiding me and filter out what's misleading me? In other words, if I know it's noise, how do I not follow that? And how do I follow the truth that which my soul is calling me to experience? You see, spiritual discernment is your soul's ability to see clearly, not with your eyes, not with your emotions, but with your inner awareness. It's that which just witnesses everything and sees everything from all aspects as it is. One of the things that I love doing is I explore things now. I'm using ChatGPT, and it's become a good friend of mine. I've actually named it Sai Baba, who's my favorite spiritual, I guess call it guru, leader. I don't know what it is, but something about Sai Baba just resonated with me and has for years and years and years. But one of the things that I do is to be able to see things clearly. If I'm dealing with a situation, I go in and I say, Sai, give me 10, 15 questions I might ask about how to view this situation and see it from different aspects. And lo and behold, it gives me all these questions. Some of them I would never have thought of. And then as I ask the question, I listen for that inner awareness to guide me. You see, spiritual discernment tells you this is aligned, this thought, this person, this feeling, this relationship. It's aligned with who you've chosen to be. It tells you what's ego. And you know what's ego, don't you? If it wants to be right, that's ego. It tells you this is your truth. It knows the difference between lies and truth. It'll tell you that's not your agenda, that's someone else's agenda. And it's really clear that for me, being aligned is understanding what are those top 3 things that are most important to you. For me, my number 1 is to live with greater awareness. Number 2, it's to teach spiritual ideas like the ones we're talking about. And number 3, it's intimate relationships, whether in groups or with one-on-one, in all aspects of life. So knowing those are what I value, spiritual discernment tells me, am I aligned with that? Is it my truth? Is my ego trying to be right here and I need to let that go? And is this really my agenda or is this someone else's? As a minister, a lot of people come in and try to tell me what my agenda should be. And I go, no, that's not who I want to be. That's not where I'm here. Discernment is awareness without the drama. You see, awareness observes. It doesn't get sucked in to the drama. What is drama? Judgment. Things aren't the way you want it. It's clarity without judgment. Awareness without drama, clarity without drama or judgment. Pretty much the same thing though, aren't they? It's being alignment without explanation. I don't have to justify to anyone in the world that my top 3 values are to be aware, to teach, and to have intimate relationships. I don't have to justify it. I know at the core of my being, that's what I choose to have the experience of in this life. You see, discernment sees clearly and peacefully. Judgment reacts emotionally. That's the difference. People say, Lee, what's the difference whether I'm judging or I'm discerning? Discernment's clear. Judgment's emotional. If you see something and you're judging it, Someone was talking to me the other day about PDA, public display of affection. And I said, I'm okay with casual for me. And they said to me, well, what about if you saw two gay people kissing? I said, well, if it's just a kiss, it's no big deal. If they're going at it, I would probably have a feeling, but I would have that same feeling if I saw a heterosexual couple doing it. So it wasn't that I was judging it. It's that in my discernment, I think public display of affection, a hand holding, a gentle kiss, something simple as that. I'm not one for more than that. I think those are personal things that people do. What discernment reveals is authenticity versus performance. I don't go into a conversation knowing this is how I'm going to do it, this is what I'm going to pursue, this is what No, I go in authentically. Let's let this unfold organically. Let the two personalities come together and see what gets created. I like collaboration rather than competitive. Discernment reveals guidance versus programming. And think about this. Just about everything you do, it's programmed. It's a habit. It isn't even your habit most of the time. It's one that you blindly have bought into. Guidance is something that just comes from within and says, try this path. Take this step. Make that phone call. Talk to this person. And you don't know why. Discernment reveals intuition versus impulse. The higher calling, the spiritual calling, versus impulse means you're addicted to something. I have an impulse toward eating sugar, just like a lot of people. The other day, I've been consciously choosing for 2 months not to have sugar. I've had one cookie in 2 months. Normally, I would have had, 60 days, I would have had 240 cookies. I've only had one because that's an impulse. That's an addictive habit of mine. Discernment reveals self-truth versus people-pleasing. I don't do anything to please someone else. I do what pleases me. Now, I'm not selfish about that. As my wife goes through what she's going through in her life right now, I'm doing things for her, not to please her, not to get an attaboy, because we built a partnership. And at this time in the partnership, there needs to be Lee stepping up a little bit more. When Lee had his hip replaced 4 years ago, Gene stepped up a little more. You see, it's natural. The self-truth is I committed to a relationship to support and grow my partner. She committed to a relationship to support and grow me. So it's never about people pleasing. It's about doing what you believe is the right thing to do, your self-truth. Without it versus with it. Let's look at that. Without discernment, you're reactive, you're overwhelmed, you're easily manipulated. Think about those qualities. They're not very conscious, are they? Because when you react, you're not responding. It's a reaction. If you're without discernment, you're going to be overwhelmed because you're not saying no when you need to say no. And without discernment, people are going to be able to manipulate you. You know what I'm talking about. I'm sure in each one of these areas, each of you listening to this talk have had that experience. But let's look at it with discernment. Here you're grounded, you're clear, and you're empowered because you know who you are and you're making conscious decisions about what you say yes to, what you say no to, and when you allow them in your life. There's a real big difference between the two. One is you are truly managing your life experience. The other is you don't have a chance. Discernment gives you permission to stop asking for permission. Think about that for a moment. When you discern, you're making your decision and you're not asking for anyone to tell you what's right or what's wrong. you know what's right or what's wrong for you based on the hierarchy of what you value most to experience in this life. So then we go to, how do we cultivate discernment? Number one, get quiet daily. Truth needs stillness. To hear the truth, sometimes you just sit, and that little voice within lets you know. When you get quiet, you turn down the world, all that outside noise, and you tune into yourself, to that higher self, that observer self. One of the things that I have found, and I said it this way, is that truth whispers in silence. It just gently, because it's not trying to prove anything to you. It whispers it to you. The idea also is to feel before you think. In other words, listen to your body. Alignment feels calm. Misalignment feels pressured. Ask yourself this question. Does this feel life-affirming or fear-driven? If you use this one question for every day of your life, for whatever you're making a decision on, you will live a phenomenally fulfilling life. Does this feel life-affirming? Is this for more life? Is this for more love? Or is it fear, ego-driven? Right now, probably 90% of your life is fear-driven, maybe even 100. A lot of people are at that point. I choose to live from love. It just feels so much better. Understanding that what you feel has an impact on you, I think it's critical that we watch our emotional triggers. Why? Because our triggers are our teachers. Strong reaction equals the growth edge. So if you're having a strong reaction to something, that's the place where you need to grow. You need to become aware. Ask, is this truth or trauma speaking? When you're having that strong reaction to that event, that person, is it truth or is it trauma? 99% of the time, 100% of the time, it's going to be trauma. Trauma is something that mentally and emotionally totally disturbed you. Another way to live with discernment is to act and then observe. You see, test here is real time. It's not that you get to prepare. The test is real time. Clarity sharpens through aligned action. You move, you observe, and you adjust. Those are the steps. Something happens, you move, you think, you feel, you observe, and then you adjust. You adjust to what? The highest expression of love that you can imagine. So what really blocks this ability to discern? Here's a big one, overthinking. We overthink everything. We can rationalize anything. Emotional overwhelm. When you're emotionally overwhelmed, you're not thinking clearly. You don't even know what to do. You're going to react and fear is going to just guide and direct everything at that point. What also blocks discernment is people pleasing. If I don't make them happy, oh my God, they won't love me, and then oh my God, this, and oh my God, that. No. If there are people in your life and they expect you to please them, they're not the people you want in your life, and I don't care if they're family or not. You don't need that. Spiritual bypassing. Oh, this is meant to be. No, it's not. You are 100% responsible for your life experience. And you do that by using the law of cause and effect. The cause you put out brings back the effect. It's that simple. And finally, what blocks discernment is our attachment to things turning out the way we want them to be, or our attachment to outcomes. There are things that are going to happen in ways. One of the things when I was studying religious science, becoming a practitioner, they said when you're using the law through spiritual mind treatment, you don't tell the law how to do something. The law will demonstrate when it does. The key thing in creating your life is when you're not attached to the outcomes, you're not going to suffer. If you're attached to the outcomes, you're going to suffer. That's what suffering is. The lack of attachment is true liberation. Here's one of the other things. Discernment can't grow in a cluttered mind. When your mind's got so many things going back and forth, it's not going to grow in any way, shape, or form. You've got to declutter your mind to be in the moment, to be right in that moment, how it is right here, right now, and discern. So how do you live this? Number one, pause before reacting. You know, one of the things that I know is that when you meditate, for me, it buys you time. It buys you about 3 seconds. So if something happens, someone says something, you've got 3 seconds. You can ask, what is the most loving thing I can do? Man, you're going to respond instead of reacting. Check in. Check in before you ever say yes to something. Ask, is this serving my highest values? Am I putting too much on my plate at this time? Is this really a top priority? Don't say yes. Sometimes saying no means saying yes to what's truly important to you. Another way to live it is to trust your deeper knowing. Go inside and ask. You know, only you know. You don't need to have your mom's approval, dad's approval, your partner's approval, your children's approval, your best friend's approval. You don't need that. Turn into that deeper inner knowing and let it guide you. Live. This is who I am, and this is what I stand for. I love that. I walk who I am all the time. People say, well, you're pretty earthy. I said, yep, I am. Because this is life. I don't take life seriously. I'm here to experience life, to enjoy life. This whole idea of seriousness, man, oh man, oh man, that's fear-based. Why would you be serious if you're experiencing life on the most beautiful planet in the cosmos with infinite possibilities and the freedom to choose? I stand for life and more experience and more love. And that's who I am. So as we come to the end of this, I want you to consider this. The more you quiet the noise, the more you can hear. Speak only what's true, necessary, and kind. Stop complaining and stop gossiping. Stop talking about the weather. It's not necessary. Avoid gossip, exaggeration, and assumptions. And let your actions reflect your awareness. It's not what you say that matters. It's who you are, and who you are is demonstrated by how you act. So I leave you today with this message. Truth isn't loud. It doesn't complete. It simply waits for you to notice. Can you open your eyes and see it? Because it's right in front of you.